Welcome to NextraGrid. In this tutorial, we will learn how to create an API from a Google Spreadsheet using NextraGrid. Let's get started. First, log into your NextraGrid account using your credentials or use one of the authentication provider available. To fetch data from a Google Spreadsheet, we need to connect Google Drive as a data source. Go to the Data Sources tab and create a new Google Drive data source. NextraGrid will request authorization to access your Google Drive. Ensure that you allow all required permissions. Once done, you will be redirected back to NextraGrid. Now that our data source is connected, let's create an API. Head over to the API tab and click on New API. Enter an API key name and optionally select a project or tags. Then select the Google Drive data source we just connected. A button will appear to choose the spreadsheet. Click it and select your desired spreadsheet. NextraGrid allows you to configure permissions based on your use case. For this tutorial, we will enable all permissions. If your API requires authentication, configure it here. You can enable or disable authentication based on your requirements. Now click Create API to finalize the setup. Your API is now created. Let's learn how to read, insert, update, and delete data from the spreadsheet using this newly created API. I'll be using Postman to make API calls, but feel free to use any tool that suits you. Let's start with reading data. Use the API ID to make a GET request and retrieve spreadsheet records. You can use query parameters to limit the number of returned records, sort data, and more. Check our documentation for a full list of supported parameters. Now let's insert a new row into the spreadsheet. We'll use a POST request, where the request body includes key value pairs, keys representing column names and values representing the data to be inserted into the corresponding columns. We'll verify if the new record has been inserted into the spreadsheet by reading the data with a filter. Since our record has an ID of 1290, we'll use that as the filter to check its presence. Let's update the country for this record to United States using a patch request. We'll verify the update by using the same ID filter. Finally, let's delete this record from the spreadsheet and verify its removal. That's it. We've successfully created and tested an API from a Google Spreadsheet using NextraGrid. Thank you for watching and happy coding.